really was frustrating because you'd see ball players that were playing pro ball, and you knew that you could play just as well or better than some of them, but you didn't get a chance. And that was the tough part.
You loved to play the game, but there just wasn't any opportunity for you.
I got into the newspaper business, came back from the Army to finish college. In 1948, I got a regular job with the Herald Tribune. When I went over there, from then on for the next 9 years, I was with the Knicks from start to finish every season. When the NBA started, life was very segregated in every way, all day long, everywhere. And there was very little, even in the big cities, mixing of black and white. That's what segregation was about. For the white world, the black world didn't exist. The NBA made a big deal out of using college rules and trying to play a college-style game. What they were after was the players coming out of college, and they were all white. A promoter would say, whether he meant it or not, that, well, I don't know, maybe my white customers don't like sitting next to black customers, and that would become a problem in ticket selling and so forth.
Essentially, there were some very clear rules in America that ended up being a clear problem for black folk. We were told and taught, for survival purposes, to stuff the feelings. Wasn't healthy to express how you feel. There were certain things that you could or could not do, and the rules were very clear.
I've learned over the years what things were like, but I wasn't conscious of it. That was the whole problem. Now, you got to remember, I'm coming from a white world where I'm not aware of any of this.
And I guess Don endured whatever the difficulties were at that time for black players to play in the NBA.
Don Barksdale had to have put up with a lot simply to survive, and he would have to be enraged, and it had to be one of the things that would motivate him to make some change, to be involved, to develop your sense of autonomy from that really overtly racist system.
When you played for the AAU, you used about 2 or 3 years, and if you went to the NBA, you'd become older like Barksdale.
Well, my first recollection of Don Barksdale was he was a great basketball player. And I can recall going and seeing him play in the Oakland Auditorium in the AAU basketball.
He played AAU for a long time, and he probably should have went to the NBA before he went, because he was a great player. The formation of the business was done by Lou Bittner, who was an income tax agent in Oakland on 13th Street. And he brought players from different big schools into the NIBL, the National Industrial Basketball League. And a lot of the players worked for the concerns. They received money to play, and they also received a job. Regardless whether they said we were amateur or not, everybody was getting paid.
AAU, where I played in Los Angeles, the 20th Century Fox subsidized us, and I played for them, along with Alex Hannum and Bill Sharman.
The Oakland Business came to Reno and played the University of Nevada, of which I was a starting center. And my job naturally was to defend Barksdale. That's impossible. After the game, Don came over to the locker room as a gentleman that he always was, and asked me when I get out of college if I'd join the Bittners. And it was a great experience for me. In fact, this is my whole life.
The Industrial League was just as professional as the others, except that they were employees of the company that was sponsored. So they could say legitimately, well, we're paying him to work at Phillips Oil, and his job is to play in our basketball game.
We traveled all over the United States, and naturally we traveled always by airplane.
That AAU basketball was at least comparable to the NBA, and Don was one of the best. And he was way ahead of his time. He had great moves under the basket, outside, got way up above the rim.
And he had quick hops at that time. You know, most guys were taller than he, but he got up quick.
Barksdale had so much spring in his leg, he reminds me of Jordan.
And in those days, nobody slammed the ball or anything. Nobody had thought about it. But he certainly could do anything you see today's players do.
In the beginning, we were the first team to use a full court press, which disturbed a lot of teams. So if he, on a fast break, as he became opposite the foul line, he would cut on a diagonal for the basket, and Mushy would just throw the ball high. And from that, he'd stuff it. Nobody could stay with Don, and the rest of the players just didn't jump that high. Boss could take off, and he never came down.
He was a guy who could very well be in the NBA today.
AAU ball was the next thing to the pros. They had the tournament and championship in Denver.